Today on Drawbli.
Ben is adding simple color to his sketches to improve them.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Abby.
And we're self-taught artists documenting our drawing adventures because drawing's better with friends.
So click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And don't forget to check out our guidebook on daily drawing, linked below.
So Ben, you're adding simple color to your sketches to improve them.
Yes, I am. I have been on a bit of a sketching/drawing kick lately.
I mean, for the past 2 years that we've been doing Drawbli, more than 2 years?
Yeah, that's kind of true. But I've been, I feel like I've been sketching portraits and faces a lot more, and more so just focusing on lines as of late.
As opposed to like splashing paint directly
as opposed to
onto
like
the canvas.
painting the entire thing.
And so you're saying that maybe you've left your sketches simple and now you're adding a little color?
I have found a way to take a sketch and improve it without necessarily going whole hog on a painting.
Oh, okay. So I like that because it allows you to have a sketch and feel like it's finished, but then give it that last little pizzazz so it feels like a drawing without then pouring a couple extra hours into it that you'd rather spend on a new work.
Essentially, yes. And I actually have found this to be a really good way to like check to see if I could make a painting work or not. And you'll get to see the process here as I continue. First I do a few sketches, and then I go through this process of amplifying the sketches and adding this simple color. So you'll get to see that process a little later in the video, so stay tuned for that. But here we're moving on to my second sketch, and I tried to keep these rather quick and simple overall in terms of sketching, trying to focus on things like line weight, trying to focus on things like little bits of value, little bits of shadow, not a ton, just a tiny amount here and there.
You've got great symmetry, I feel like, for these being just rough things like popped onto the canvas.
Well, I just flipped my canvas and things were all out of proportion and a little wonky. Yeah, things, flipping your canvas is really important, guys. Hey, flip your canvas. Flip your canvi.
I never remember to flip my canvas. I am terrible about that.
It's really not that hard. I think you can set up a shortcut for it as well to make it easier.
I have a shortcut. I forget to use it. But I've
well,
gotten better.
The truth be told, I don't think you need it as much as I do.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true.
I have seen your artwork many times, Abby.
I've seen it too. And I've seen it when I do flip it, and I'm like, oh no.
Oh no. I would say in general it's probably a good practice, but I don't think it's like the end of the world, the end all be all.
I love the way your hair is reading in this sketch. That can be really deceptively difficult to create hair that looks like it has a good form and flow in such a simplified manner. Like that's really good.
Yeah, I've been getting better at kind of creating flowy lines. I did say it was something I would work on, and I'm also trying to figure out like how to get a little bit of simple shading, as you can kind of see here. And I'm really focused specifically on creating interesting shapes with those like simple shadow shapes. I don't want a ton of them, but I want the ones that I do create to be like visually interesting. Shape design in painting is something that I think is really hard, and I talked about in a recent video about how I'm always very uncertain with my choices and I kind of flip-flop a lot. Well, I've tried to, in drawing it's kind of similar, and I've been trying to work on that here. I find that like sketching and painting are way more similar than I initially thought. And the more I do it, the more I feel like they're pretty much the same thing.
Oh yeah?
But with sketching, I'm able to work on a lot of these concepts a lot faster. So
I like that.
I was trying to draw some open eyes, and then I accidentally kind of had like a sketch line through there that kind of looked like the eye was closed, and I was like,
yeah.
ooh, let's try that. And I was like, ooh, I
Yeah.
like this feel, this vibe.
I like that too. That looks awesome.
I wasn't happy with the hair on this one, but overall,
Well, there is no hair, so
Well,
that explains a
I
lot.
can't draw the hair yet. I gotta draw everything else first. But yeah, oh man, these creating flowy shapes, I don't know how you do it, Abby.
I think you're really improving though. These lines feel so much more confident and assured than stuff you've created in the past, and I absolutely love to see it. I mean, look at the simple lines you've used to create the clothing here. They each seems to like start and finish from one motion as opposed to many, and that's what I really love seeing.
Yeah, I don't know if I get it yet. I think I'm on my way to getting it, you know? I'm not there quite yet, but I'm sure I will feel the same eventually. Yeah, I struggled with the hair a lot on this one, just trying to like make sense of it. Because I create like these big flowy shapes initially, and then I'm like, I have to make sense of this. And one technique I found recently, like with that big piece in front of her, is that I can like crisscross some lines to make a hair feel like a flat piece twisting in space.
Yes.
Which is something I do in my sculpts, my 3D characters.
That looks awesome.
So I've been trying to like do a little bit of that, but oh man, it tough, it hard.
So is this the part where we see the simple color added?
Yes, this is the simple color edition. And for these, I just totally picked a random color that I thought might be interesting, and I started with that. And I really think that like you can just throw a color on your sketch like that, and it makes it 10 times more interesting.
I agree. That looks so cool.
Just like to give it a little bit of color. But now, if you just like give your skin tone a little bit of color and just kind of like block out a few other like sections of color, I think it makes a huge difference in just terms of visual interest. And then I just go through, and I don't paint these entirely. I just do like really minimal colors on top.
With this kind of workflow, you know, creating a simple sketch that looks so awesome in simple color, if you wanted to illustrate like a story, I feel like this would be a great way to go towards that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a nice workflow for like a comic or like a web comic or something to keep things from becoming like these ultra rendered
Yes, yes.
nice pieces.
Wouldn't that be so fun to create like a webcomic? Like write a
that would be super fun.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
I've always wanted to get to a point where I feel like I can illustrate like a short story, not of my own writing because I haven't had any practice writing ever in my life other than, you know, school back in the day. But somebody else's.
Yeah, I think that would be super fun and interesting. Here's another one where I just kind of picked this random fluorescent green color.
Fluorescent is the word I would use to
Toxic
describe this
green. But something I've been actually playing around with, there is this idea in, is it quilting I think you told me about, where you're like, pick two colors that look like they wouldn't go together, and those are the best two colors that would go together.
Yeah, that's something I heard years and years ago in my kind of homespun upbringing. Was a book about quilting that suggested that when you go to pick out your fabrics for quilting, this person who was teaching a quilting class told everybody in her class to go pick out the two colors they thought would the least go together. And inevitably what people brought back, she said, this is what looks good together. I wish I could remember examples of what they brought back. Maybe like, I don't know, yellow and gray or russet and chartreuse, who knows?
I think you can make anything work. At least after doing these sketches and adding this color on top, I really felt like I was like, I could just pick any color and combine it with something else and like make it work. So I did a purple one there, a green one, and I believe that I choose like an orangish red here.
I do like this color a lot. And then how do you pick your flesh tone color typically?
I actually just pick like a warm color, and then I throw my color picker in like the top left somewhere, and I'm like, that's good enough.
Yeah.
And then I move on from there. Typically I'll adjust like the skin tone quite a bit to get it to make more sense.
Yeah, do you have any theory for when you blend out these red tones here for warmth? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of stuff that I'm familiar with just from sculpting and from creating 3D characters and like where to put color on the face. There's a lot of reasons like why you might put warm or cool colors in certain areas, but For the most part, just like the strip around the nose and the cheeks is a good place for warm colors.
So you're saying before I learn drawing, I must not learn anatomy, I must learn sculpting.
No, you don't need to learn.
I must learn sculpting. It's the ultimate first step. First, I must become a proficient professional sculptor,
yeah.
and then I can begin to learn to draw.
That's right,
Because
that's
I
right.
won't know how to shade a face otherwise.
That's
And it's about the shading. It's not about the forms. It's truly about just shading a face. So I'm glad you've pointed this out. If everybody's listening, that's what you must do.
absolutely.
These are
follow exactly what Abby said. Abby knows exactly what she's talking about
always
here.
know what I'm referring to.
100%. Well, there are my color portraits, and if you'd like to see some more colorful portraits in the future, click that like and subscribe button, and check out our guidebook, How to Easily Draw Every Day, at the link below in the description.
And share your work on Instagram with #Drawbli because drawing is better with friends.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goomba.
So, what story are you going to illustrate first?
I'm going to illustrate completely original story. It involves a guy who stumbles upon a magical lamp, and when he rubs it, a magical creature comes out that grants him
never heard of this.
wishes.
Yeah.
And guess what? For his third and final wish,
Yeah?
he sets the genie free.
Oh my gosh, nobody saw that coming.